Starting in early 2020, I slipped into what I would consider to be my first bout of severe depression. I had experienced times in my life where I was sad or feeling hopeless, but I was always able to really bounce back pretty quickly and go back to being a fundamentally happy person. But this time, it felt as though I had just been completely emptied from the inside, as if there was some kind of external force driving it. It was during this crisis that I learned about the concept of delayed complicated grief. In 2018, I lost my stepfather and my mother 9 months apart from each other. And in the immediate wake of their respective deaths, I chose to sort of be the strong one who either helped with final arrangements or took care of them entirely. I thought that I was grieving the way I needed to. But in February of 2020, I suddenly felt like my world was just, in a sense, ending. All of a sudden, I felt nothing. It wasn't sadness and it wasn't anger. It was just this consuming void. Suddenly, I couldn't enjoy anything anymore. I couldn't feel anything anymore. I stopped eating. I started having notions of taking my own life. In the past, whenever I sort of became aware of that demon that would breathe down my neck, I would always just kind of run to a new identity. I figured that if I wanted to be safe, a brand new me was always there to call on. But this time, I didn't have anywhere left to run. The grief that had finally set in was the proverbial nail in the coffin, in which all of my old coping mechanisms had to be laid to rest. It was time to face the darkness. I still face it. I'm not over my depression. You don't get over your depression, you get through it. But in the midst of the darkness and the mental fog that accompanied it, I learned how imperative it is to use fear as a compass to navigate through it. It was no longer a matter of changing my entire life or the world around me to accommodate a more comfortable existence within it. It was a matter of learning how to exist within the life that I had already chosen and truly begin to lean into it in spite of my fear and in spite of that hopelessness. My grief was a catalyst. It was a doorway into a darkness that may have already existed within me, but from which I would always run. But this time, I needed to listen to what the darkness and the emptiness are trying to tell me. This time, I needed to step through that doorway into the darkness and begin groping blindly through the void. Because the reality is, that's the only way I'm going to find my way through it. And in doing so, I'm finding my way back to myself.